endless hours preparing applications, attending boring networking events, and multiple interview rejections. I honestly felt like giving up, but that's when I took a step back and asked myself, where was I going wrong? And it hit me. I was making it too complicated and missing out the simple steps that once I started implementing, I was moving on to the next stage and the next stage and started receiving offers from places like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and the Bank of England. And today I'm going to be sharing with you those important steps at each stage so that you can also land your dream job. Now, your CV is going to be the first impression you give to the firm, and so it goes without saying, make sure you have no spelling, formatting, or grammar mistakes. I know you know that already, but what people miss out on is the finessing part of the CV. You see, the top CVs aren't ones which have been submitted after 1 or 2 reviews. They're ones which have been edited multiple times and gotten rid of all the fluff in that CV, which doesn't really add any value. And even when you think there's nothing extra to edit, chances are there's one more run through that you can perform. So that's the first point. Multiple edits lead to the best CV. Now, the next point about how to make your CV stand out is, what do you talk about in it? And this point covers those with several years of work experience to those having practically none. When you talk about any of your experiences, don't just list what you did as if you're rewriting the job spec. Rather, you want to be focusing on the impact that you had at your role. This could be driving underlying profits, but there's a lot more companies care about than just profit. They're looking for time savings, document creation, how many customers you interacted with, or if you have no prior jobs, well, that's understandable for current students. Firms just want to know, what did you do outside of degree? For me, when I was writing my first ever CV, unlike my uni friends who had internships or some work experience they got via their family members, I was struggling with what to write. But I knew I was someone that actually did activities. I included what sports clubs I was in, university society positions I was elected to, what events at university I helped organize, and even being a course representative for my 50 fellow students. Importantly, I listed what my role in each of those were, whether I was a captain of a team or responsible for X. It was these points which the interviewer was curious about, and trust me, these non-formal experiences were much better conversation starters during my interviews than some formal work experience. Okay, so what does this all look like? Well, here's 2 CVs I found online which really break down these points further. First one is someone with 3 years of work experience. I like how in the beginning it tells you very simply the skills they have. Then in each of the experiences, they've specified what they did and the impact they had. Here they mention they work with a customer, showing the customer-facing experiences, whereas here they found a solution which saved 5 hours of work every week. And it's the same in the other experiences, talking about solutions and always including metrics to show the impact. Whereas this CV is of someone who's still at university. They mention some extra work that they did during the time there and what knowledge they use in it. They talked about some outside projects and competitions that they were involved in. And again, they're emphasizing the impact they had, from cost efficiency to how many user interactions they work with. I get it that both these CVs are of top level students, but hopefully you can take away some of these points from looking at the CVs. Now, what interviewers are looking for from your answers, I'm going to cover that in the section regarding real life interviews. But online interviews are becoming the norm now, so it's important everyone knows what things can absolutely ruin your applications at this stage. You see, the first mistake is approaching online interviews as if you're doing a video call on your mobile. We're so used to looking around during the call, not giving eye contact or not caring about the angle, and all this transfers into a bad online interview. Step 1 is to create an environment that's not distracting for you or the interviewer. Try and have a clear background, no posters, no pictures, no shadows of people moving around. And if you struggle with that, before you start your interview, go into the video settings of whatever video software you'll be using and just set your background to be blurred. That's probably the best course of action you can do here. Next, you want to ensure that the lighting and angle you're looking at is appropriate. Natural light is okay, but then clouds will keep moving in front of you, which will cause shadows at odd times during the interview. So ideally, close your curtains and have some soft light shining on your full face, but at a slight angle. I actually think about these distractions as well when I'm interviewing candidates. So I bought a cheap ring light, which does the job perfectly. Last point, and I know this is really hard to do throughout the interview, but look at the camera and not yourself. This will take practice, but just don't look at yourself because this always sabotages interviews. So not having that eye contact with the interviewer doesn't really make for developing a good relationship. But the second reason, which is even more important, is that many online interviews these days utilize AI to assess body language. And one of the key data points picked up in the AI is eye contact. It can make you look like you're someone who's nervous, unsure, and ultimately not confident in who you are and what you're saying. So when it comes to this point of looking at the camera, practice if you have to. Okay, so let's just break down networking events. So these are events with industry professionals where you're hoping to learn more about the job or industry, as well as possibly make some good contacts to help you in your career. And there's only one thing you have to nail in networking events, and if you do it successfully, it'll make you look like a pro, and that's your elevator speech. So your elevator speech is what you're going to use to introduce yourself, and you should be able to complete it in the length of time it takes for you to be in an elevator. So around 30 seconds. If you can figure out the answers to these 5 questions, you'll be miles ahead of everyone else at the event. First one is the introduction. That's your name, your university, and what you're studying. If you're already working, then just substitute those last 2 points for your company and your job role. Next is your experience. Talk about any relevant exposure you've had in the industry, either through actual jobs or if you haven't got any, then talk about what you've read. Third, your goals. Mention what you want. Do you want to be a consultant in a specific sector? Do you want to work on a specific trading desk? It's okay not to be super specific here, especially when you're first starting out applying. But this leads on to the next point, which becomes even more important, and that's solution. What can you bring that would make someone else consider you for that role? Are you a problem solver? Are you great at maths? Are you good at bringing people together? And lastly, plan. What are you going to do to get to your goals? Are you applying for grad roles right now? Or do you plan to further develop your skills with further education? And that's it. If you perfect answers to these 5 points, you'll make every interaction a productive one. And of course, it goes without saying, once you've introduced yourself, you then go and ask about the other person and you try and see how you can both work together to get to your plan. Okay, so congrats on this stage, because on average, only 20% of applicants even make it this far. So nailing this section is crucial because you've almost got that job offer. What I want to cover here is this one important point when it comes to your interview, the STAR technique. This is the tried and tested method for interviewers. For the interviewee, it helps structure your answer, and for the interviewer, it helps them make notes down in a logical manner. So STAR stands for situation, task, action, results. Situation is about the context of the example you're providing. Why did it happen and what was the reason? Did you decide to do it or did someone else ask you? Then you've got the task. This is the actual event that you'll be describing. Did you have to create something, analyze a problem, or document a process? And after, you've got action. Here, I can't emphasize this enough. This is about what you did. If your example is talking too much about we did this or they did that, then choose another example, because I only care about what you accomplished. And lastly, we've got the result. This is the end product. What did your actions accomplish? And there's a lot of different ways to present the last section. Some of my favorites are time savings. Companies care a lot about efficiency. Or how many people your work impacted. Was it just you or was it a group of people? Now, this was a quick guide to the STAR technique, but there's quite a lot more nuances for each of those parts. And my very first video on YouTube was actually about the STAR technique because it's that important. The presentation in that video was poor. The quality wasn't great. But if you can get past that, then I definitely recommend watching it, because the information I gave was what top companies are looking for in your answers. So I highly recommend checking it out. Now, for a lot of jobs these days, you do have a final stage called the assessment center. These are more than just interviews. You can have group exercises, presentations, case studies, and this mix of what happens on the day really confuses people on how to prepare for them. But the first thing is that this is a stage where you should take a breather and relax. It's possible for everyone at the AC to receive an offer, so don't think other candidates are necessarily competition. But more importantly, you're here because the company has seen something in you that they really like, and they just want you to be yourself during the AC to demonstrate more of it. The whole point of the AC is just to see how you react in different scenarios, both with senior managers, future colleagues, as well as under pressure when asked questions during your case studies. Now, I wouldn't do the assessment center justice if I tried to cover it here. I've already made a video where I share what the best tips to ace your assessment centers are based on my own experiences. I'm going to leave that next to me, so go check it out to get yourself ready for that last stage of the process, and I'll see you all in the next video.